Hi guys, today we are joined by David
and Craig.
and Craig from CRA Entertainment.
Yes.
Film company. I got that. Right, my dad.
There you go. Hello.
I'm here as well.
And that is always. So today we'll just be talking about what got you into.
Is your Uncle Craig in?
Not that Craig. I know Craig.
Hello.
By the way, today we'll be talking about what got you into filmmaking.
Okay. Let's start with that. Craig, what got you into filmmaking?
Well, a good friend of mine who had been an actor for years invited me into acting. And from there, I started to making short films. And from there, I met the young man in the upper right corner, David Espinosa. And together we made 4 feature films. So that is the beginning of my story as a filmmaker.
What about David?
What got you into it, David?
Well, I've always enjoyed films since I was a kid. I've always been an escape artist, loving the movies. So acting and all that has been something I've entertained in my mind forever. And I was fortunate enough to had the opportunity to do some television work and some films. And then I met this guy. And
What guy? What guy?
That one down there. And I had the opportunity to make a feature film. And the irony is, neither one of us had ever made a feature film at that point. We had been in them. We had done television work as actors and stuff. And Craig had actually made short films himself, but we never did a feature film. And we got together, and I don't know what got into us, but we both thought we could do it. So we made a film.
We had a lot to drink.
We had a lot to drink. Yeah, it's that fizzy stuff, those Pepsis. I quit drinking those. That's what did it to me. So I gave them up.
I agree.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Why do you like movies? I mean, you've invited us who make movies. What's your interest in movies?
Well, it was actually my dad that got me into the spooky movies. One of my favorites is Saw.
Ooh.
One year I was Benny from Saw.
Isn't that a bit gory for a lovely young lady as yourself, or a lovely young person? Let me not be sexist. No, you saw. Whoa.
Okay.
That
You
was.
need to remember, she's Scottish.
Well, that says it all.
Scottish children are slightly, in a good way, Scottish children are slightly different from your average child, you know.
From the history, I got you.
The day was asking, why do you like films?
I don't know.
When you watch a movie, do you feel yourself getting involved in it? Like you feel for the good guy and you hate the bad guy, or you think sometimes like the hero's a good person? And does that make you feel good when you watch those?
One of my second favorites is also Stranger Things.
Okay. Yeah.
And she's broken. Her door's broken.
Well, it's strange because I grew up loving movies and I've always watched scary movies. I loved horror films, but I never thought of myself as an actor in a horror film or making a horror film. And ironically, the first movie I make is a horror film.
That's right. What's that?
Have you watched Stranger Things yet?
I've not seen it. I'm going to now, though.
If you don't like gruesome,
It's
don't watch it.
real gruesome, huh?
Real gruesome.
Uh,
Real gruesome.
And so is fine, but Stranger Things is really gruesome.
So but we're not going to talk about that.
Right, okay, well, sorry.
I'm not going to spoil it, but in the last episode that just came out, someone got attacked by bats. Yeah. Demogorgon bats.
yikes.
Wow.
He oof.
Oh,
He
no.
Oof.
Whoa. Whoa.
He oofed.
He is.
They oofed.
Oh,
They oofed him.
You like normal films as well, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, like kid films and stuff like that, you know. So they are. You know, I like Surf's Up, all the balloons and
He
stuff.
likes the Grinch in the middle of May.
Oh.
Well, actually, you know, we got two film people on here, so let's get their opinion. You and your mum think it's daft, you know, but I think The Grinch is an all year round film. But it's frowned upon by Sarah and Tiami. You know, to them, you're not allowed to watch Christmas films until the start of December, basically. What do you guys?
I think Christmas films can be watched anytime, or any film can be. See, what I love about films is that they can take you from where you're at and put you someplace else. So in the middle of winter, you can watch a film about the desert and be there in the hot sun. Or conversely, in the middle of summer, you can watch a film about snow in the mountains. And I think that's what I love about films, that they take us where we're not used to be. So there's a film that I like. Kurt Russell does it. He plays Santa Claus. It's a great film. It's fun. He plays a modern day Santa Claus, and I love this film. I just saw it recently, as a matter of fact. But I watch films for a different reason sometimes. Sometimes I watch them because I want to see what the actors are doing or how the director did something. So I watch them a little differently. And that could be why I watch them at any time. How about you, Craig?
in what regard?
What do you think about films watching, say, just Christmas at Christmas time, a spooky movie? See, like horror films can be watched year round, but a lot of people say only at Halloween.
I'm kind of seasonal. When you were saying that, and I was trying to think of, like, have I ever watched a holiday movie in July? No.
Movies in the middle of July.
Yeah, see, I think legally you can't do that. I think like the cutoff is like maybe you can go into December 26th and then that's it. But yeah, I think you can start Christmas movies early November to maybe get a jump on things if you're really into that. But no, summer, I was trying to think of that. No, I'm not that kind of guy. I think that's cool. You can mentally get into that, but I can't. Like right now, it's warm where I live in Southern California, and if I put something like it's snowing, that's gonna mess up my head. Yeah, that's cool. Like that people can do that, but it's like no, it's hot as hell.
Maybe in California it's hot as hell, but I mean, in Scotland it's,
Well, that's different. That,
you
yeah,
know,
I can see that. Maybe you like something that, it's out in the desert to make you feel a little bit warmer. Yeah.
I mean, I'll give you a quick example. I took the dog out yesterday, and where we live is a field. It's less than 10 minutes walk to
Yeah.
where we are. And I left the house nice and sunny, get down the bottom of the hill, as I say, less than 10 minutes. Big grey clouds started raining, really, really heavy hailstones, wind. I was absolutely drenched by the time I get back here. And that was less than 10-minute walk. It was sunshine. All right, time for the dog walk. And then, boom, down it came. I thought, time to go home. I'm soaked.
Just talking about the weather, do you want to know what temperature it is here? 7 degrees feels like 5 degrees.
Too cold.
Too cold.
Too cold. Now,
As the, you
Yeah.
can,
There's no question about it.
no.
to me, you can watch Christmas films in July because in Scotland, in July, it can sometimes feel like Christmas.
I lived in Hawaii, and come December, it's still Hawaii. And, so Christmas and everything else, it's all doesn't matter, right?
There's no dashing through the snow.
No, but what is cool, like you were talking about the weather, and the climate being erratic. You'd be outside walking, and all of a sudden, nice storm, rain will come, shower on you, and it's all good. And then it clears up, and the sun's bright, and flowers are popping everywhere, and you dry off, and it's all good, But
you know what I think? See if you get caught in the rain, you get a free shower.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen. And in Hawaii, they put showers at all the beaches. All the beaches have showers on Maui, so that if you're out there and you need a shower, you can go take a shower. There's homeless people and people who live on the beach sometimes, and you can go right on there. And I have to admit, I've had a few showers out on the beach. But it was all good. It was all good. Yeah.
So it's a split panel. 2 for Christmas films in July, 2 against. There you go, baby girl. So we win.
I agree with you, Craig. No Christmas films. From the end of July. No, the end of December to the 1st of December.
Oh, okay. Then what about horror films in December and November?
Horror films are a different story.
Ah, I see. It's a one-way street going on here.
Why is that a different story, hostess?
Dad, you literally watched The Meg the other night.
The Meg was a good film.
I bet you've already watched The Meg, but someone got ate by a shark.
A lot of people get eaten by sharks in the Meg.
That happens.
And that's a horror movie.
Have you ever seen Jaws?
Yes.
Did you like that movie?
No.
Why not?
I don't know.
So you were curious. You were asking me earlier on about film making and stuff. What goes into it. So I said you're better to talk to the experts on it.
So, what do you need to do to, make a film?
I didn't hear what's the question, David? What was it?
What do you need to do to make a film?
Money.
No, she didn't say what do you need. She says, what do you need to do?
Oh, to do. Well, it begins with Mr. Espinosa with a story. Don't you think?
Oh, you got to have a script to start with. Okay. So you got to And that's a whole nother subject, script. But then you got to have somebody like Craig who also steps in as a producer. What does that do? Tell him about how a producer works.
Well, essentially, well, with David too. I mean, anything we've done, it's a collaboration, if you will. Anything that you would see in a film from beginning to end, but let's say in the beginning part of it, it's raising funds. Like I said at the top of this, you need money for a film. The storyline, where David, you have to have something that people are going to enjoy seeing.
I think something that's important and that Craig's hinting on is you need something more than just a script. You can have a really good script, but you won't be able to get it made.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be something in the people who are making it.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that people bought with Craig and I, not that we're some kind of great filmmakers, we're not. We're two guys who love doing this and we work hard. But Craig had a background of producing quality short films and as an actor. I had a background as a director and an actor and a teacher. And I have a legal background. So Craig had a financial background.
Mm-hmm.
So the people that looked at us, they looked at the script and they said, well, we don't know how good or bad the script may or may not be, but these two guys have a somewhat success in their backgrounds, and I'm betting these two guys will do what they said they're going to do.
Right.
And what we said we would do is that we would take this script, we would coordinate it, we would put it together so that it could be shot, we would shoot the film, then we would, in post-production, edit the film and get it off to market.
Mm-hmm.
So our promise was to shoot, produce, create this film, and get it to market.
Right.
Now, from that point, it's up to God and the forces of nature. And, if people don't like you get the idea if the film's no good. And you don't know if it's good or bad. You think it's great.
Yeah.
And then everybody watches it and goes, okay, so how about them Giants?
You're totally right. Eileen's saying, I'll stick this comment up where we go. Filmmakers need to love their subject and to know how to communicate that passion. You're totally, I mean, I think also, I know it's Tiami's show, but I think also it's important that what you were saying, David, you can have a great script, great story, but there needs to be that kind of passion there. Again, I watched a film, I started to watch a film last night. I read the outline on the TV and I thought, that sounds quite good, so I'll put it on. And I think I lasted less than 10 minutes because no offence to them, but the acting was just crap. It was as if they just stood in front of the camera and just started saying the lines. And I thought, you know what, I can't watch this. But it might have been it sounded a good storyline. But when you see it in the film, you think, no, that time to switch off and watch some blood and guts or something. Which I think I actually did. I watched a vampire film. But so I know, I think as you were saying, and Eileen saying, you have to need to have the passion there.
Oh, of course. That I'm not trying to be a wise guy, but without saying that goes. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
You don't get into doing films simply because you're sitting around with a couple of guys and you had some beers and you decided to make a movie. No, this is something that you really need to plan out ahead, take a lot of time in preparation, think very seriously about casting. That's the most important part of what you're doing is the casting. But one could argue every single aspect is the most important part.
Yeah.
And if you think of the concept of mise en scene, which is a French concept meaning, everything necessary for the scene, what
Mhm.
does that comprise?
Mhm.
Wow, that's so much makeup, costume, and we're not even talking about acting, just the sets and the locations and everything technically. And all that could be perfect. And then, as you've already said, you got a couple of terrible actors, and so what?
Yeah.
It goes downhill. And then you can have the opposite. You can have a crummy story, but really good actors, and it might be interesting, but still a crummy story.
I've watched a few of them. Or what? I know Tiami, there are a couple of questions for you, but one film we watched. I've got A Christmas Carol, it was called. And it's a Christmas film, Craig, actually, and we watched it, in the kind of middle of the year. But it was, no offence to them, but it was so bad. But we watched it because we wanted to see how it turned out. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I've watched films just for educational purposes.
Yeah.
Films I really love. I've watched films. I'll give you an idea. I've probably watched the Godfather series, the first two films anyway, maybe 20 times, if not more, since they were first
Mhm.
done, after seeing them in the theater a few times. I've studied them. They're great films, just great films. But, you know, films are, it just depends on what end you're on. Craig, you've
So
been
true.
working as an actor for the past year and a half in a couple of films. Talk about that for her so she understands that.
And what do you think would benefit her, David? I should touch on in that regard.
Well,
Just
I
the
think
process.
in reference to your experience, you had, I believe, one where you were getting rewrites continuously on a
Oh
movie.
gosh, yeah, yeah. Well, and also to that extent, we talk about filmmaking. David is a graduate of UCLA School of Drama and also an acting coach, and has been a big help for me as an actor to prepare for these roles. And this one film that was shot out in the desert, it was very frustrating before the shoot that I was getting rewrites. Well, that's not necessarily unusual, but before the shoot, I received yet another rewrite of the script, and in particular, my character, which it was annoying for this regard that I thought my character was locked in, and we're starting to shoot on Monday, only to find out afterwards. I met with the director. We had lunch, and it was really, really a terrific guy. And it was the lead actor who said that myself, along with the lead actress, wanted to have this last series of rewrites, which was not true. I've never encountered a situation like that. And so I had to get these lines memorized, like I shared with David, from Saturday through Sunday to be prepared on Monday. I'm kind of hanging out some dirty laundry, but those are some of the things behind the scenes that they go on. But thanks to David's coaching, I was prepared enough in other areas. We got through it. But those are some of the things that do go on.
It's a tough business.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's
But
why,
go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You can say something.
that's why, dear, I was so interested in why you're interested in, movies. Is it something you want to do? You want to make movies? You want to write movies? You want to be in the movies? Or you're just doing this because it seemed fun? Which is okay.
You don't know. You do enjoy doing your acting and doing. You do wee role plays. Wait till David about your Harry Potter stuff that you do in here.
Oh, sometimes I do like a Harry Potter act.
Where you get dressed up and you pick a scene. She's seen the Harry Potter films. I don't know, I've lost count.
Oh, sure.
The watched them, but she'll pick a scene.
I
The
could
Harry
see
Potter.
you in. I could see you cast in the Harry Potter films. You have
Is
a
it the
very
hair?
good look to you. Oh, he's very good look. You're very articulate. You speak very well. You know, but acting and is a little bit different. It ends up being the same thing. That's what's weird, huh, Craig? Acting ends up being the same thing that you do in real life,
Yeah.
only it seems a little bit strange when you try to do it on purpose
Yeah.
in front of a
Well
camera.
said, David.
It changes a little bit,
Hmm.
but you certainly have the look. You have a look. There's no doubt about that. You look well on camera. Hoping it would get better, and it doesn't. Never.
Yeah, that's called editing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, geez. Oh, great.
Your
Tell
mum,
us when you're on TV.
you honestly tell Dave and Craig time we're on TV, and then Island's got a question. So, tell me about your big TV debut.
Well, in third,
Primary 4.
primary 3 or 4, I think I was on primary 3.
So primary 3 here would be like the third year, or I don't know, year 3 or something. You guys call it over there.
Third year. I'm pretty sure.
What is it?
We in primary school here. I think you guys call it junior school.
Oh, yeah. Junior high,
Yeah, middle school.
middle school, elementary, junior high, then high school.
So it'd be elementary school over there. Our primary is their elementary. So
Yeah.
you were primary 3. So that would be like year 3 or something in
Yeah,
elementary.
third grade, fourth grade, around there. Yeah.
That is great. Third grade, that's what it is.
Either third grade or fourth grade, I can't remember. But we all got a letter to be on Get Set Galactic on BBC.
Oh, cool.
That's fun.
And I got picked for it. And we had to answer a load of questions. It wasn't just me, it was a few. There was me, one of my friends, and then 2 boys.
Yeah.
And before we even started to make it, we went into the back room.
Yeah.
Like a little office type thing. And we were just talking to who was doing it. And they thought I was quite weird because I can touch my nose with my tongue.
Me too.
Yeah.
But you got to look. I got an
You do.
advantage. You see, mine's dipping down to my lip almost. You know. I love her.
Well, there you go.
You got a special talent there, chick. Hang on to it.
Not many people.
I could win you some money someday.
Ouch. Ouch.
Ouch. Ow. Oh, geez. That makes me uncomfortable.
I agree with you, Craig. It gives you the kind of shivers, the way you see.
Yeah.
I used to
I have no body parts that can do anything like that.
I used to go to school with a guy a long time ago, obviously, but he could bend his hands in unnatural ways.
No.
You know, guys, there's always somebody at school that could do that. Yeah, double jointed, could always twist their arms in all kinds of weird ways, and there's
No, yeah, with that. Oh no, put it away. Hey, Jamie, you were in the back office thing.
So in the back office, and who we were doing it with thought it was quite cool that I could do all these weird and wonderful tricks. No, I don't. So they thought that was quite cool. So yeah.
Did you do them on camera?
Yes.
Nice. No?
No.
Yeah.
No.
But it was a game show, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You used to use the different things to. It was like 2 teams, and you used to do different a competition.
And at the start, we had to slide down this big, massive slide.
I
Well, that's
see.
fun.
It was weird, but because obviously the school took them to the studio the day they were recording and what have you, and then they said, the people says emailed us, say, "It'll be out in about a month's time," and we'll be able to watch it, and then it came out, so we were all gathered around the telly, and it was weird actually seeing her on TV,
Cool.
doing these kind of different games and what have you, and you won. He's pipped them at the very last game.
We won by 1 point.
1 point, the very last game.
Do they have theater at your school?
Huh?
Do they have plays at your school theater group?
Yes.
They put on different productions. I think it was last year they did the Great Showman, an adaptation of the film. Great
Very
Showman.
cool.
Is that right, didn't I?
Because that's what got him into the Great Show.
That's what got me in. I mean, the film had been out for a long time, but I seen it advertised. I thought, no, it's no my cup of coffee. But then the school put it on, and the playing the soundtrack, and the kids were all doing their thing. And as I said, I really enjoyed that. Let's go home and watch that. And I get hooked on it all.
Do you get involved in theater at school?
What?
Do you do theater at school? Do you get involved in the plays?
Yeah, in primary 5. In year 5, we done a Valentine's assembly,
Nice.
and I had the third part of the entrance, and I still remember that line off by heart.
Good.
Good.
That's good practice for no matter what you do in life. It's good practice doing stuff like that in the theater, on stage, being in front of people. Whether you're become a teacher or a salesperson, a representative, anything you do in life, that type of training, that type of practice is so good for you. There you go. She played Cinderella.
She runs a paranormal group. She's a really, really good friend. She's from the east side of Scotland, but we don't hold that against her. She kind of helps me.
I played Scrooge in A Christmas Carol in school in I think it was 7th grade. 7th grade, yeah. One of the mice, 3 blind mice.
Every now and again they'll send the kids home with scripts or poems or whatever to learn, and she's really good at sitting and rehearsing it, learning it, and then she stand in front of her mum and I and sort of rhyme it off, and she get quite a memory that way for doing stuff like that. She does. She puts her wee heart and soul into it when she gets something, don't you? But she could be another, but it could be an actress in the making. You just never know, do you?
Hey, enhance the memory. You know the herb?
When I want to be an actress when I grow up.
You want to be an actress? Well, there's 2 gentlemen there who'll give you plenty of tips and do's and don'ts and stuff like that. Eileen's saying, but I don't know what that says. But do I still shudder remembering? I don't think I was ever in any school plays. I used to do a show.
Bobbity Boo. My daughter had one.
It's Bibbidi Bobbidi.
Put too many bibbidi bobbidi.
Bibbidi, right, aye.
Bibbidi bobbidi bibbidi bibbidi bibbidi.
I mean, The David, I mean, my claim to fame, it's a song on Cinderella. When I know you guys are the Scouts, the Boy Scouts.
I never was in the Boy Scouts.
But
Were you?
and
That's great.
I was a Boy Scout, and there was a show in Glasgow called the Gang Show. It was the Scouts and the guides and stuff all got together once a year, and I was in that for 5 years. I don't know
Wow.
if you get America. I know they do them in different places all over the world, but so that was my play. I was in the Glasgow Gang Show.
That's cool.
For 5 years on the stage and singing and stuff. Couldn't do it now, but But David and Craig have a new project that you're curious to hear about.
So tell us about your new project. Well, yours new project.
Well, we're working on a few different things. Craig's been working as an actor on a couple of different projects. I'm working as a director, producer on another project that Craig's also going to be working on as an actor. It's a feature film, and we're getting excited about it. It's a horror film, but it's a horror film of a different kind. It has a message. It's not just blood and guts and slashing and killing. It's about the false prophet, and I'll leave it at that. Yeah, we're excited. It's a script I wrote several years ago that got picked up by this production company. They liked it, and they contacted me and said they wanted to do it.
Mhm.
So I said, all right. And when I wrote it, I wrote one of the parts specifically for Craig and one for myself, but I'm not going to act in it because I'm just going to direct it. It'll be too much stuff for me otherwise at this point. But we're excited about it. It'll be shot here in California. It might be sooner. I was thinking projecting this time next year, but it might be sooner than that. Who knows? We'll see what happens. I'm working on it now. It's in pre-development. It's very gory. I'll put it that way. But as a hint, it's about the false prophet. If you know what the false prophet is. If you don't, ask your dad. I'm sure he'll tell you about the false prophet and what that's about. Okay.
I'll fill you in on that. Ask Craig about the bush. When he was in the bush.
What about the bush, Craig?
What is a bush?
David knows what we're talking about. David's quite on.
Maybe.
I see what you about Craig sometimes.
I don't think I want to touch this one. I'm at a loss.
Let me help you out.
Yeah,
Have you ever been in the bushes?
please.
Have you ever been in the bushes peeping?
Oh yeah, yes. Never arrested, never traced back to me, but yes, I have been known to peek out of bushes now and then.
I think you should. I think you should explain, Craig, because that sounds quite, worrying.
It sounds suspicious, doesn't it?
It does very bad. Very bad.
Yeah, it sounds worth looking into.
It needs context because
Yeah.
this is my friend we're talking about.
Yeah,
We need context
I
here,
think it's
folks.
one of those situations. The more you talk about it, the worse that you make yourself out to be, and it just goes downhill fast.
Yeah, this is a tough one to explain.
Yeah, it's not good. It can't be good.
So you need to add a wee bit of
Watch
content.
the movie The Crumbs on Tubi TV, YouTube, Plex. You can see it on, I think, a couple other platforms. But watch the movie The Crumbs, and you'll see what we're talking about, and you'll recognize the guy in the bushes.
I can assure you, folks, just now, it's nothing dubious. You know, it does not need investigation, anything like that. You know, it's all above board. Eileen's got a question for you, for the both of these. Are you guys concerned about AI in films? Acting unicorns seem to be perturbed.
Yeah, the unions are a bit perturbed because they can't collect on it. Absolutely. I don't think it's good. I don't like it. I think, but I come from the theater. So for me, it's about, what are you going to put AI in the theater? How are you going to do that? You know, this is about real people and about real people creating art. You know, so pretty soon we don't need original artists. We just AI everything. So what? People become complacent artistically in their lifetimes. Humanity becomes complacent artistically. We turn into a bunch of viewers, not doers. No. We were created, if you believe in God, we were created in the image of God, and He was a creator, and He wanted us to create. So I'm totally against AI in films. I think you could use it for special effects and for a lot of other stuff, but I want real actors, real people doing real things, speaking real lines.
Yeah.
I said acting unicorns there. No, I don't know why I said unions. I just try to say unicorns. What were you, Craig?
That's right. I saw you. I
Well,
saved
I think David's, speaking for both of us. I mean, you essentially can replace the whole industry from standpoint. AI can write a script and take it from there. I mean, you don't need a crew. You don't need sound. You can just AI the entire film, storyline, everything. So that wipes out a lot of traits. So it's a very scary proposition on all fronts.
There's a school of thought, which is a capitalistic school of thought, which says exploit everything to its maximum, bleed it to its minimum, take as much out of it as possible, and don't put anything back. And that's what that represents to me. It's the epitome of a capitalist perspective towards exploitation. I don't like it. I think art should be shared on every level, and that means especially in the participation level. It creates jobs, a lot of jobs, and AI will take jobs away, period. As Craig just said, we won't need people. AI can make the whole film. And then what does everybody else do? You know, and at that point, what is it? It's a loaf of bread. It becomes a loaf of bread, folks. And you can buy a loaf of bread, every types of loaf of bread, in every store, anywhere. It takes the specialty out of the art. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm in and I'm threatened. It'll be better than me. I know it. It'll act better. It'll do
I'm not a technical person. Tiami is. She's very. Tell Craig and David what she did the other day when we went to that cut card.
Well, on my phone, I've got something called a Google Translate. Circle to search. So my mum and my dad wanted to figure out what this wee thing is.
I'm not sure what I was looking at, but I'm shaking my head to participate. Okay, now I see it circled. Okay.
So now it's back to normal, right?
Yeah.
So if I hold in this, right?
Okay.
And I suck it,
Right.
it comes up the information that I need.
Okay.
So basically, what happened? We went. There's a cut. We're Sarah and I get married as well. Called London Cut. It's a churchyard. We went there last week, and we did a wee small investigation during the day. But there's a crypt there where Sarah and I get married, and on the wall there's an iron cross with a big, huge iron bolt right in the middle, about 3/4 of the way up. So Craig, Laura's husband, he's part of our team. The two, Tiami was with us with the dog with us. So Craig and I were standing looking at this, wondering what the hell it was. That way you see something in a building, you try to figure out what it was for. But Clever Clocks here did the search. She took a photograph of it and circled it and Googled it, and it came up there was actually a wall support, an old-fashioned wall support in the crypt when they were restoring the crypt, basically. But that's how intelligent she is. We would never. I didn't know you could do that.
Well, research, especially utilizing Google and a lot of other platforms, that's awesome. I think all that stuff is just great, But what we're talking about, referencing AI in creative, artistic endeavors, that's something different. That's something different for me, and I guess because I've always looked at art as an expression of humanity's being, the fact that we are alive. We're not the only animals that make art. There are other animals on the planet that actually make art, but we're the most sophisticated, and we communicate it more effectively. So if all we're about is just communication, then AI is great. But if we're about more than just communication, if we're about expression, human expression of emotion and our being, then AI is not effective. AI removes the humanity.
I totally agree. It's the same as over here. We used to have a program on, I don't think it's on him, called Top of the Pops, and it was on every week. It featured all the kind of up-to-date groups and singers and stuff. And going way back, like in the 70s, you had your groups on that played their instruments, piano, guitar and stuff.
Yes.
But as time went on,
yes,
the music was replaced electronically.
Yes.
So you ended up with just a singer on and 9 times out of 10 they were lip syncing to, and that kind of ruined it. And I used to say to folk, there's you get all this music, something's quite good, but it'll never ever replace people actually playing their instruments live. I think it's kind of along the same kind of lines. I might be wrong.
I totally agree.
Well, like to your, I'm sorry, Dave.
No, go ahead, man.
Well, like to your point about AI, I was a freshman, no more than a sophomore in high school, when 2001 Space Odyssey came out. It came out in 1968. And I remember very distinctly, George Held, my English teacher, came out. Or I had, was our teacher. And it came out, he wanted all of us to go and see this. And we went to, it's Edwards Theater, anyhow, we on a field trip. And so he was able to get permission. So we saw it. Anyhow, the reason why he wanted us to see this, there's that one scene where Hal locks Dave out. That iconic scene, right? And sorry, Dave. And what he was so wanted to hammer this point home to all of us, that this was a glimpse of things to come. This is our future. This is where technology is going to go. He's just way ahead of his time before, computer age was coming. We thought he has lost his mind. Now here we are, talking about AI, like the film industry and all of this. And here we sit, scary stuff.
I always say, human emotions can't be replaced fully by robots. It's true. Music performers just don't do what they used to do. It's all about image nowadays. But when some of the stuff you listen to is crap. But it's all the modern kind of music. Some of the stuff you listen to is quite thingy, isn't it? And it's all like, how would you describe the stuff you listen to?
Boring.
Boring, and it's just no there. I don't think the feel's there anymore. Whereas you would maybe get, I don't know, like Angus Young playing the guitar solo live, but it's just, as you say, Craig, it's took that realness away from it.
But I think there's also oversaturation where we get so much, we're so bombarded by so much fantastical things that we do suffer boredom because we need something a little more fantastical.
Yeah.
Think of it this way. Think of somebody who's never been around anything modern and they come into the modern society and they see a television. Whoa! Or an airplane. Whoa!
Yeah.
I mean, amazing. Everything they see would amaze them. And I think that's part of the problem. We have oversaturation. Kids are overstimulated. The media is oversaturated. And before you know it, you're changing channels inside of 5 or 10 minutes. Because if it doesn't catch you within the first 5, as she stated earlier, and she's right, you need that hook in the first scene or so. And if that hook is not there, the audience is gone. Whereas days past, no, you'd sit there and watch it. I'm getting my 25 cents worth and I'm watching the whole thing.
25 cents. You're getting back about 25 cents.
I went to see movies for 25 cents used to cost us. Monaco Theater, the Westwood, 25 cents. Anyway, well, there you go. Whole clip of the Beatles, sound quality good, biscuit tin, but rocks. Exactly right. I totally agree with her. The music then was so much different. You watch Santana play from Woodstock. I mean, come on. Good God, Jimi Hendrix, any of those groups play live. The Stones, I've seen them a few times. I was at Altamont and witnessed and experienced all that crazy stuff. So, they don't do it that way anymore. Everybody's electronic and, it's all about the money. We can't let art suffer to the dollar. Which brings back us to cheap filmmakers.
Yeah.
Money and image, really. I see you're getting tired, baby girl. Do you
Yes.
get anything else? Craig?
You've been a great host.
You've been, yes. She held in.
And I've counted your teeth a few times. Fantastic yawns. It's okay.
That's how we try to. That's how we usually make the shows with Tiami about 8 o'clock. Because after about 9:30, 9:45 here, the yawns start to appear and stuff like that. But see, there was a mix-up with the times. I think that was probably our fault over here, time-wise. Because the clocks go forward. The thing is, the clocks go forward just 1 hour, but it throws everything out of whack. I don't know what it's like you guys, but it just throws everything.
They change the clocks, it messes with us big time.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it does. That daylight savings time is no. It's more like we lose.
Hold on now.
Yeah.
What do you do with my clock?
I'll give you a quick example. I'm a big Formula One fan, as everybody knows. And last weekend was the Japanese Grand Prix, and it was scheduled to start at 6 in the morning. And there's a guy on YouTube called TikTok, F1 Dave. He does a lot of lives about Formula One and what have you. And I says to Sarah, a couple of our clocks went back at like 2 o'clock on the Sunday morning. And I says to Sarah a couple of days before, I says, well, how's that going to work with the Grand Prix? If you're going to start at 6 their time, or is it going to start at 7 our time? So I was asking quite a few people. I asked F1 Dave, and it was driving me nuts you know, 1 hour. And I thought, well, when does the Grand Prix start? And people on TikTok were asking the amount of people that were asking the same question. When does the Grand Prix start in the UK? Is it 5? Is it 6? Is it 7? And try to work it out. My brain was pickled.
Yeah.
Try to work it. But then it turned out it was Laura, her son. He actually solved it. He says, look, Sky alternate the time to suit the time change in the UK. So Sky says 6 o'clock the week prior to the clocks going forward. It's 6 o'clock UK time, but it was unbelievable. You know, I was like, when does my race? Because I hate to miss a race, and it was like you think the world was going to end or something because I could not work this out. You know,
Well,
it's
one
sad.
thing for certain, it's certainly past this young lady's bedtime. We know that for sure.
So, where can people find these guys?
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Thank
Make
you.
sure to watch our films, The Crumbs, The Evil Down the Street. What
Love
other
and
two? Craig?
Quarantine.
There you go. Demon Fighter and Love and Quarantine. And our new films coming up. Keep an eye out for The Preacher. And what are the titles of the 2 films you're coming out in, Craig?
Falling West and crap, David.
That's a
Henry.
strange title,
Henry.
but I'm going to look for it.
Henry. I'll write them down. I'm gonna have to write them down.
That's really terrible. But wait up here. Here we go. All right, and you're
All
going
right.
I'm gonna go take a nap.
David and Green, you will be seeing them again, folks. And you'll be seeing this wee one again, but it's bedtime for this one. And,
Our pleasure. It was our pleasure. Thank you so much. Peace.
Thank
we'll
you.
talk to you guys soon. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.